A sky humming with tens of thousands of wings, bees flood Israeli streets, shutters slam, whispers rise of divine judgment. Fear spreads faster than facts, but beneath the buzz, science points to something far less mystical. In a region on edge, are these swarms an omen, or just nature misread? Unusual scenes are unfolding across Israel, where tens of thousands of bees have swarmed multiple areas, prompting authorities to issue public warnings. Residents and shop owners have been advised to keep doors and windows shut as large bee swarms continue to appear across different parts of the country. Officials have not indicated any immediate threat, but the sudden scale and spread of the swarms have triggered widespread concern. Online, the phenomenon has quickly taken on a symbolic dimension, with users linking it to religious and historical interpretations.
Divine judgment be upon them.
Across various traditions, swarms of insects have often been interpreted as omens, signifying upheaval, warning, or transformation. In some Christian and biblical symbolism circles, swarms of bees appear in older commentaries and allegorical readings as a sign of large, overwhelming forces or plagues. In Islamic and other Near Eastern traditions, insects like wasps or locust-like swarms are used in scripture as metaphors for punitive hosts sent by God, and bees can be folded into similar imagery of a divine swarm afflicting or warning a people. However, experts caution against drawing such conclusions, pointing to natural explanations rooted in environmental and seasonal patterns. A similar reaction followed a recent incident in Tel Aviv, where thousands of crows darkened the sky, sparking fear and speculation online. Scientists later clarified that the event was a natural migration pattern, not a sign of impending danger. Large-scale animal movements, whether bees or birds, are often driven by ecological triggers such as climate shifts, habitat changes, or breeding cycles. Experts emphasize that such coordinated behavior, while visually dramatic, is a normal part of wildlife activity. Still, in a region already on edge due to ongoing tensions, even natural events are being viewed through a lens of uncertainty and symbolism. As speculation spreads faster than facts, the latest swarms serve as a reminder. What appears ominous at first glance may simply be nature at work, unfolding on a massive and misunderstood scale. A viral video showing thousands of crows flying in formation over Tel Aviv has triggered widespread speculation online, with some calling it a natural phenomenon and others labeling it a sign of doomsday. The footage, which darkens the skyline over densely populated areas, has rapidly circulated across social media platforms. However, there is no confirmed timeline for when the video was recorded, raising questions about its authenticity and context. The speculation intensified after users drew comparisons to a similar incident in Kyiv in 2023, where large flocks of birds were seen shortly before heavy bombardment during the Russia-Ukraine war. Online narratives quickly escalated. Many social media users commented that this is a bad sign. Some users associated it with the depictions of war and destruction in the Bible, while experts noted that the situation could be natural. Experts, however, reject these interpretations, pointing instead to well-established scientific explanations. Environmental specialists note that in conflict zones, repeated sirens and explosions can disturb bird populations, forcing them into dense, erratic flight patterns. At the same time, seasonal migration and ecological factors frequently lead to large flock formations, particularly in coastal urban regions like Tel Aviv. Analysts also warn of a growing pattern of misinformation, where older footage is recirculated during periods of heightened tension. Reports indicate that similar videos from late 2024, showing large bird flocks over Tel Aviv, had previously gone viral, suggesting the current clip may not be recent. Religious interpretations have further amplified the narrative. In Jewish tradition, ravens or orev carry mixed symbolism, associated with impurity and ill omens, but also divine provision. Biblical references, including the story of Noah releasing a raven and passages in Leviticus, reflect this duality. In Middle Eastern cultures, particularly in Islamic traditions and Arabic folklore, crows symbolize betrayal, foolishness, and ill omens rather than direct predictors of death, though their cries near homes can signal misfortune. In Persian and Bedouin lore, crows link to separation or bad luck due to scavenging, with large groups or cries viewed negatively, but not explicitly as death harbingers. However, scholars note there is no doctrinal basis linking mass bird gatherings to imminent catastrophe. Ultimately, experts maintain that the phenomenon is consistent with natural bird behavior, not a precursor to disaster. In a region already on edge, viral imagery can quickly blur the line between perception and reality. But in this case, what appears ominous in the sky may simply be a reminder of how easily fear-not facts can take flight. A stark warning from Tehran is raising tensions across the Gulf. As the war deepens, an Iranian analyst is now openly discussing the possibility of seizing key coastlines in the region, signaling just how far this conflict could expand. Speaking to Iran's national broadcaster IRIB, analyst Morteza Simiari said the country's military is ready to take action if the United States makes what he described as any mistake in the region.
Iran's military is ready to take action if the US makes any mistake in the region. Iran's armed forces are prepared to seize Emirati and Bahraini coasts and fundamentally alter the regional landscape. Entering the coasts of the UAE and Bahrain is on the agenda.
The remarks come days after comments by the UAE Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed denouncing Iranian attacks on the country and stating that it will never be blackmailed by terrorists. His comments were made in response to a wider debate over the UAE's growing cooperation with the United States. Presidential advisor Anwar Gargash had earlier highlighted what he described as blatant Iranian aggression against Gulf states, arguing that it has reshaped regional security priorities. Gargash said the evolving threat has made Iran a central concern in Gulf strategic thinking, prompting the UAE to strengthen its security partnerships with Washington. However, this position has drawn criticism from some international observers. Former French ambassador to the United States, Gérard Araud, questioned whether deeper alignment with Washington could entangle Gulf states further in a conflict not of their making. Despite initial efforts by Saudi Arabia and the UAE to dissuade the United States from launching strikes on Iran, recent developments suggest a shift in stance. Both countries are now seen as moving closer to supporting the ongoing military campaign. In recent weeks, Iran has targeted US military bases as well as oil and gas infrastructure across neighboring Gulf countries. The United Arab Emirates has reported intercepting hundreds of incoming threats, including 338 ballistic missiles and 1,740 drones since the start of the conflict. The latest warning from Tehran follows strong condemnation from the UAE. Saudi Arabia is reportedly preparing to grant the United States access to King Fahd Air Base in Taif, while the UAE has indicated it is ready for a prolonged conflict. In a phone call earlier this month, the Emirati foreign minister told his counterpart, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that the UAE is prepared for the war to last up to 9 months. The increasingly assertive rhetoric from Iran, combined with shifting regional alliances, reflects a broader escalation in the conflict. What began as targeted military operations has now expanded into a wider confrontation involving multiple states and strategic interests. Trump called it putting them out of business. Iran has a different word for what comes next.
Definitely biblical proportions, man. We already know. And I'm going to put in a scripture under the video. But I'm going to caption it. Definitely biblical proportions and prophecies. Anyway, Shalom.